Good evening, chain breakers, and welcome back for another episode of Talking Taboo. I am your host, Trista, and with me today I have my co-host, Psych Perspective, Hasna Deanna, and missing from us today is Miss Cornisha, but she'll be back on next week. Now, today's episode is gender inequality. We're going to get into our topic for today in just a moment, but what I want to do first is allow you to catch last week's episode sneak peek if you missed it. Be sure to watch our videos every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook or YouTube. But here's a sneak peek of last week's episode, Toxic Religion. Were any of you raised as a child in religion or under religion? What was that experience like for you as a child?
I wasn't learning nothing. I was just sitting there. It was crazy because it's like you see so many people in church all the time, and then it's like what you stand for is not what I'm seeing outside of church. You know what I'm saying?
I personally think religion, especially if it's forced upon you, it breeds shame. That shame, guilt, and fear. The honor thy mother and father, I hate that. Because oftentimes it's used by people who are just being manipulative. And that's the thing I don't like about it. I look at it like, okay, if you're a Christian, it's okay to use it if you're really a Christian parent, meaning that you're doing your part, because the Bible also said don't provoke your children to anger. But a lot of parents, again, are out here causing their children valid anger. And as long as you're doing your part, then cool. Okay. I'm sure if you're doing your part as a parent, then your children are going to honor you because it's just given. You know, you have these great parents. Why not? Do you all think that people can truly heal and be all that they're called to be, in a sense, under religion? Do you really think you can heal and be free under religion?
I don't think so. For my opinion, no.
Okay. What you got to say, Sai?
For me personally, no. I mean, it's hard to go somewhere where you're constantly being told you're going to burn in hell for, I mean, so it's like I'm not going where I'm not welcome. I've long learned go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. All of the homophobia, the shunning of people. I mean, in the Kojic setup, I mean, you're basically in a cult. You're in a cult. And you're sitting up here, trying to make it seem like, or even worse is the whole, we'll just pray it away. Meanwhile, people need to be going to therapists, need to be on medication, need to be in serious counseling sessions. Just pray away generations of trauma. Hey, if that was the case, then we should have already been, cleansed.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Overall, I am just tired of the lies and the hatred and the manipulation and the betrayal and it's like all of it. Just be good. Just be a good person.
Yeah.
Just heal. Whatever is hurting you, if you have the means, because some people are just mentally far gone, but if you have the means to just be a better person, do the work to become a better person.
Yeah.
Like, forget all the other stuff. Like, just be a better person. So if you worshiping your Lord, however you choose to worship him is going to make you a better person, then you do that.
Right.
You do that. Speak good or keep quiet.
Yeah.
Do good or keep it moving. Like,
you better preach that thing, girl.
Yeah.
All right, so that was last week's episode, Toxic Religion. And today we're going to be talking on gender inequality. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into it. Now, when you hear the word gender inequality, what one thing comes to your mind? And this can be anything. I'm going to start with you, Sai.
Double standards.
Okay. What about you, Hasna?
I'm with Psych on that one. Double standards.
Okay. For me, exactly what you all said, but I also think of a patriarchy. That comes to my mind as well. Okay. Now, when you think about gender inequality, what is the one thing that really just boils your blood? It can be an issue that's going on in society that you see. that you think we need to really address and it needs to be dismantled? I'm going to start with you, Hasna. If you had to choose one, I know there's a lot.
I don't know. I think more so for me is like the abuse that comes from it.
Mm-hmm.
The abuse that everyone has to suffer for just being them. You
Yeah.
can't be you without somebody wanting to cause some type of harm
Mm-hmm.
to you. So I
That's
think that's a hard one for me.
okay. Okay. What about you, Sai?
For me, it's like the twisted views
Mm-hmm.
of what gender is, and then like what people perceive to be masculine or feminine, and again, how it's weaponized and how people, as Hasana said, people end up being harmed and abused because of these concepts, these social drugs.
Right, right. And for me, I would definitely say that as well because I'm like 100% humanitarian. I'm for all. And my motto is do no harm. I don't care what people do, what they like, dislike, as long as you're staying in your lane and you're not harming someone else. So what bothers me is, when you see, people getting hurt or hated on because what they prefer goes against the norms or somebody else's religious beliefs or whatever the case may be. I'm strictly just do no harm, and that really bothers me because just because you don't agree with something, you can still accept the person. It may not be your cup of tea, but you can still accept them. And there is a lot of harm that comes with showing dislike or prejudice towards someone simply because they don't do things the way that you would like them to. So I think we need to learn to just accept people. Again, we don't have to agree, but you got to respect what people choose to do. It's their life.
And who people are. Respect who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's good. Now, going back to those double standards, okay, if you had to speak on one right now, what would that be?
Oh.
Well, I will start it. I'll let you all think. And what came to my mind was the double standards when it comes to men and women in regards to their sexuality. And what I mean by sexuality as far as their sexual feelings and desires. As you know, men are, when a man is out here being hypersexual, it's okay. We hear that, oh, he's just a man, that's what men do. But if a woman does it, then she's labeled a whore. So that's a big one for me. And it's the same thing when it goes when women have multiple fathers for their children.
Yeah.
And a man have multiple mothers of his children. The woman is looked down upon, but the man is accepted, with 10 plus children.
Encouraged.
Right.
Right.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So did y'all have time to think of anything? How about you, Said?
So yeah, I was gonna hit on. Can I add?
Go ahead.
Hit on that. For me, it's like I see multiple double standards. So it's like you have men or masculine people, or because even within same-sex relationships, the masculine top, what have you, is allowed to go and screw around and do whatever, and then the feminine person or the bottom is supposed to just be like, how dare you have other, what are you doing? Or that whole, a key can unlock any door or some mess. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense because you are also out here just doing whatever. And as far as I'm concerned, STDs, STIs, they're going to spread regardless of who's masculine or who's whatever.
Right.
Okay. And then when it comes to sexuality, the double standards is how when women are bisexual or lesbian, it's more likely to be accepted.
Right.
Wow, when men are bisexual, oh, how dare you, you liar, you did this and that, that's disgusting. Or if a man is gay or messes with any men, you know, oh my goodness, that's so disgusting. And how could you? And that's an abomination. But yet we can support women kissing women all day. Like that's accepted. And don't get me wrong, you know, I thought the magazine cover with Essence, I think,
Yeah.
was amazing, because just within the Black community, the homophobia is wild, like it's ridiculous. But at the same time, I also felt like, well, who's really that angry about two women? Meanwhile, if y'all would have put two guys on there, that would have been it. And I'm not
Right.
trying to take away from that, because it was still a monumental situation. Because again, I'm not saying that women, like two women, don't face, you know, homophobia and discrimination either. But it's just, again, to notice how one is more likely accepted, and then also still rooted in misogyny, because again, women are seen as objects to have sex with. So like they're getting off on the two women being together. Meanwhile, men, it's like y'all not. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It's a
It
whole
is.
lot. It's a whole lot. What you have to say, Hasna?
I think for me, it would be when it comes to parenting.
Uh-huh.
It's like boys or men shouldn't do this. This is for the woman. This is for the man. I mean, I think it's bullcrap.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole thing of like little boys playing with the little Barbies or the babies and the kitchen sets, everybody has so much to say about that. I'm like, but how do you expect this child to be good at this or know how to do one thing or the other if you don't allow them to just explore and enjoy themselves? Like, why does it have to be, oh, that's gay, that's for girls, you know? And you see that a lot.
Yep.
Right. Now, what do you all think? I know you spoke about, you know, misogyny, but I was going to ask, what do you all think individually is the big deal behind, you know, the whole homophobic rants nowadays? What do you think the problem is behind that? Or what could be some issues that people have internally regarding that?
About to get real.
Yeah, you know, like because one thing, and let's speak on Boosie, because I know that he has so much to say, and he's somebody that I can't stand him. I'm just going to be real, because for me, I just see so much of, you know, to me, it comes across like something happened to him, and he's trying to, it's like he's trying to erase it from his mind, but he can't help but to put it out. Something's a little iffy. I don't know, but it just seems like something's just a little strange with his obsession. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And you know, he'll sit there and have, you know, all these kids contributing to the issues in the Black community, but then he wants to say that, you know, people, you know, deciding to be with the same gender is what's causing our children harm. But you have like 45 kids with 20 different mothers. I'm like, I'm just not understanding that. Like, you're contributing to the problem. You know, someone liking who they like, that doesn't cause any trauma to anyone. It's your parenting that's causing trauma to your children. So I just don't understand that. I would never understand his mindset. Never.
I mean, I don't understand anybody's mindset that's like on that level. I don't know. I mean, I know we're all different. We all deal with a lot of different things, but sometimes I just feel like a lot of opinionated people on levels like that is just dealing with something internally, you know, and just having spoken out about it or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Right. You have anything to add, Saya?
Yeah, that I agree with both of y'all. I feel like it's like it's always that for me, because I love music. So it's like I remember being in like middle school, high school, and it's like, "Wipe me down, wipe me down." You feel me? That used to come on, and we used to be, you know. And it's like now I'm like, oh, I can't really listen to you anymore because you.
Because you know the thought process of the person. Once you know a person's thought process, it's just like turn off.
I have to remove. Now, don't get me wrong. moments where I'm just, working out and a Bootsy song come on and I'm like, and I'm like, ooh, self-hate, you gotta stop. What you doing? You supporting your own guys. So it's like, okay. But then I also recognize, like, again, a lot of times when people have gone through some ish and they don't want to acknowledge what they gone through, whether that has been abuse, because who's to say what happened to you was consensual or not? You feel me? We don't know your story. And then there's also people who feel like they have to attack others to cover their own shit. So there's that too. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't get how anybody's sexuality or gender identity, how does any of that affect me? You feel me? So you that bothered? Like, there's a lot. That's how we know something happened with you. Because
or sometimes I think they become that bothered too is because they're not able to love and people who they want to be with.
Yep.
So it's like when you're fighting your own demons and you're not able to love on the level that you want to love to because you can't be open. You feel like you can't be open about who you love. Then it makes it a little hard.
I was watching. I don't know if y'all remember Shaws of Sunset, that show. But there was a character on there. He was, gay. And what happened was he was older. And there was this younger friend that was introduced to him by another friend. And he was jealous of this younger guy because he was so free within himself. And what ended up happening was he started just really treating the guy ill and harmful for no reason. He didn't do anything. But what ended up happening once they were able to talk about it was he shared that it bothered him and made him feel a certain kind of way to see that he was able to openly be himself. And he didn't have to hide who he was like he had to do, growing up and going through his stages of, coming out and being who he was. So I think a lot of times people are, jealous that of somebody else's ability to just simply be free and be authentic. I really think that a lot of people, your authenticity can bother a lot of people who are, like you all said, that are hiding in somebody else's body.
I mean, and Little Nas X, like, what did this? I mean, not child, but he's so much younger than Bootsy.
Right?
Why are you so angry at a 22-year-old? Like, chill out.
Right.
You in your 40s, like, get it together, dude. Like, you. And then too, and then you got to think Bootsy generation again. That's pretty much either older millennial, younger or younger. Older millennial and then like younger Gen X. It's like that generation raised the millennials and the Gen Z. So then you wonder why people be having the same issues generation after generation. Like, that's what you grew up in. You're also going to be homophobic and transphobic and, misogynistic. Because if you notice, they all run together. Like, they're multiple toxic things, it seems like. So it's like, ooh.
Yeah. Now, this is what I want to ask next. And I'm going to start with you, Hasna. Have any of you ever struggled or was ashamed of your sexuality? And this could mean with what you identify as, or, for instance, being embarrassed of maybe you had a high sex drive or something as a woman, and something that, like that wasn't accepted in society. I want to start with you, Hasna.
Well, for me, I never cared. I always just been like, it is what it is. So I remember, even from my family, if today I decided to be with a woman, because at one point in time, it wasn't that I was like sexually attracted to women. It was just like the whole connection of just conversation, love, support. Like, I see why people fall in love with you're not falling in love. It's not about the same sex. It's about how your heart and everything connect with a person. So I kind of understand why people fall for who they fall for. You have no control that the one that you're loving right now just so happen to be a man or a woman, and you're a man and woman yourself. Like, that's how I look at it, So for me, I never cared. Like I dated whoever I wanted to. I did what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm still like that. So it's like if I'm with a man today, then I'm with you and I'm committed to you. And if I turn around tomorrow and we don't work out and I decide I want to be with a woman because of how we're connected, then that's what the hell I'm gonna do.
Right, right.
So that's how always, like,
Mm-hmm.
you can ask anybody. I've always been that way. It was
Mm-hmm.
more so with me not being able to the respect of people. People didn't like the fact that I was like that. So it was always, oh, you're disrespectful. Oh, you're a problem. Oh, you're this, just because I was going to be me.
Right. And they wanted you to conform to their standards. Yeah.
And I wasn't. And I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah. I think for myself, I would speak more on just being a woman and having like, you know, just high sexual like urges and desires, and also being the type of person who was more like shy, timid, you know, etc. And I think for me, you know, I was overly concerned about what people would think. You know what I mean? If I would speak about, you know, how I felt and, you know, the things that I was interested in as far as like sexually, etc. So I felt like I suppressed myself a lot as far as just desires that I was having. You know, it doesn't mean that I'm out here doing it, but just desires of who I, you know, was internally. And I remember what set me free. This might have been a few years ago. I spoke openly about it to Nisha. And I felt like it was something I had to do. Like, I'm the type of person, like, in order for me to get free, a lot of times it comes through me speaking about it, like getting it out. Mm-hmm. And I felt led to do that. And I spoke to her about it. And it's just something about it hitting the air. And I felt like it was lifted, you know, and I was like, oh, okay, you know. So I felt shame surrounding basically something that was normal. So that's something I definitely remember, you know, just hiding who I was and the things that I felt and desired in a sense.
And there's so many people that's hiding who they are.
Right. Which was
normal. And when we all, a lot of the times we all have like the same thought, but just be so afraid to put it out into the atmosphere.
And I even remember saying like, oh, you know, well, you know, I don't want to say this or say that because, you know, and what if, you know, a man won't like a woman like that, or you see what I'm saying? Just putting myself in this box. But what you notice about that, this is something that just came to my mind. It's so funny how, you know, again, in this patriarchal type society, we like to say that, oh, women, especially men, like to say that women aren't supposed to do X, Y, Z, but then you would cheat with the woman who's doing X, Y, Z. I don't understand that. Like,
manipulation and just toxic, like,
right. I think that's,
Make it make sense.
Like it doesn't make sense. Like, you would marry, aka the church girl, but then you would cheat on the church girl with
the hood.
Right, or the girl at the strip club or whatever. Like, it doesn't even make sense. And somebody else, there was a meme or video or something going around Facebook when the girl was basically saying the issue why she believed there's so much of like divorce, etc., is that you're marrying and you're getting with people whom you don't even like. For instance, you know, we're all trying to appease to somebody else. You're marrying this church girl because your mom and daddy think that you should, but you want to really be with Jenny from the block. You see what I'm saying? So if we're just real with who we are first and what we like and just go for that, I don't think we will see a lot of what we're seeing now.
No.
If people are just honest and authentic. Right. But then I get and understand the pressure to conform as well. So it's just like one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about you, Syke? Have you ever been ashamed of or struggled with your sexuality?
Oh, yes. I mean, for me, coming out the closet was like multiple things I had to come out the closet about, you know? So it was just like, geez. And then I think about like, when you living in the it's just like, what is going on?
Stressful, yeah, I get it. Because
you realize you basically become a habitual pathological liar, because you got to play all of these different roles to fit in and conform,
just to cover up
with,
who you are.
yes,
Mhm.
and that's going to cause a lot of mental agony and stress. And I'm trying to figure out how I was able to do basically 26 years of that. It's like, that's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Looking back. But then at the same time, I get it, because living your truths and being out and open about your stuff, it comes with some rewards, but it comes with a lot of sacrifices and losses too,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, if you don't mind, I would like to dig a little deeper. Like, what was the moment that you knew? Because I know you said it was 26 years of struggling with that. Can you speak a little bit more about that? Is that something you're
Oh, I
comfortable
mean, I don't
about?
mind. I don't mind. I mean, I knew as a child, like I said, I was 4 or 5 years old, like knowing, like, okay,
Yeah.
like, which cracks me up, because you always hear these people saying, like, the children, how dare y'all sexualizing the children. But like, y'all literally had us talking about, we had like boyfriends and girlfriends, and like, just basically prepping you. And again, if kids aren't supposed to know this, then why are you giving little girls baby dolls in the first place?
Mhm.
You're already setting that, but yet again, sexualization only matters when it's LGBTQ, but when it's heterosexual and cisgender, it's completely fine. They can rush that right on in you with all the Disney movies starting at 2 and 3. They don't care at that point.
Yeah.
But I knew as early as 4 or 5, and then the struggle of like trying to fit, like conforming, and just always feeling awkward, and just knowing like this is not who I am. And then, like you said, you in fake ass relationships, like you don't even care about. And that's what's so sad about it. Like, everybody in here is Academy Award, Oscar winning performances of this. You would have thought like we was getting married up in here, but like that's why I look back and I'm like, okay, that's some when you think about it, that's some mental illness in itself. The fact that you were able to lie to yourself and lie to all these other people, but that's because you were in many cases forced, because of the homophobia, the transphobia, etc. It's like people are being killed for being themselves.
Right.
So we see why people stay in the closet and keep that to themselves. I'm not trying to condone it or what have you, but I'm just putting it out there, like,
But it's the truth.
it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you, what do you all think is behind this homophobia in the Black community? Like, what do you think that is?
Because a lot of them are undercover.
Yeah.
And
So
I'm here to say it's a lot.
Again, when you're living a lie, you're panicking now because you're afraid that the real you is gonna come out.
Yes. I remember it was a cousin of mine, and I like stopped by her house or whatever, and somehow we were talking about something, and the next thing you know, I remember she said to her daughter, like, oh, well, it's one thing that you can't do, and it's abomination to the Lord. But if you're gay, that's an abomination to the Lord. And I'm sitting here like, but you sitting here doing all kind of matters of mess. I'm just like, where are we getting this?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, is it religion? Like, we're focusing only on that.
On one aspect.
I don't understand that, but we're doing everything else. Like,
well, people take what they want to. People take what they want to take from religion anyway, and hold on to parts that don't involve them. So it's like, oh, if I'm not gay, then I'm gonna throw a lot of dirt and shade on you because that's what you are. But we're gonna just throw my sins and stuff to the side.
Right. And and I guess that could be the same thing as, like you said, covering up so that they don't have to deal with self. Yeah. It's
because I remember even when it used, how people do their little rumors, people find out something about you, they take it, they carry it, whatever the case may be. And I remember like maybe my early 20s, somebody was like, "Oh yeah, Deanna, I heard you used to deal with girls," and I was like, "Yep, you heard that right." And it's like when they say it to you, they think, "Oh, I heard, so you're supposed to deny it." Nope. Sure did.
And I think that's the best thing. Owning it.
Make me
Yeah.
mad when you own yours.
Yeah.
And you're not hiding behind that.
Yeah.
You're not living double and quadruple lives anymore. So it's like it is what it is.
Right.
And then my family used to welcome whoever the hell I brought home, they didn't care. As long as I was happy, as long as you was being respectful to me, as long as you was that was all that mattered. So they were open to whatever I was gonna bring through that door.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's up.
That's good. Yeah. That's definitely good. Now, all right. What are your thoughts as to why many people, but particularly men in society, are uncomfortable with a woman being ambitious or independent? Mm-hmm. I'm going to let you start, Syke.
I personally think, again, it's the toxic masculinity, it's the patriarchy, and it's the misogyny. And it's wild to me within the Black community because it's like, for a lot of us, the women in the family have always been go-getters, ambitious, independent, you know, in many cases had no other choice but to be independent. So it's like, it's not like you haven't grown up seeing women take lead.
Yeah.
So that part is where I lose. Like, I don't get why, you know, you would be upset that a woman is getting to the money or, you know, making her dreams a reality. I just don't get why that would be an issue.
Right.
But then on the other side, a lot of men, you know, their masculinity is so fragile. So, you know, they feel attacked if, you know, she's got her own thing, her own mind, you know, her own skills, her own goals, her own hustle and drive.
Yeah.
And then also going back to what we've been saying, it takes, when women are ambitious and making it happen, it puts that almost like a magnifying glass on the men, because it's like, what is your excuse for being a bum?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And see, so when you got in my opinion, when some men see women out here getting to it, it's like, well, damn, they see that I ain't really about shit. So now I gotta go, and that's really how I feel.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with these men who are misogynistic like that, or always got something to say against women, are the same men that are saying all this stuff against the LGBT community. It's the same group of men.
Right.
It's just wild to me.
Yeah. I just think you took everything out of my mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah, all of that is definitely their insecurities. And, you know, a lot of people feel or believe that, hey, you know, if I can't have you making me look a certain type of way. You know, I dealt with that personally, and it was confusing because there's nothing I did to this guy. Like, I never talk. I'm not that type of person. Like, I don't sit around and just talk about, okay, I'm doing this, that, and the other. At the time, you know, I had my own house, whatever. I was, you know, doing my own business, etc. And he just started, I noticed the things that he would say, like, you know, it was just like, he was jealous. And I knew that's what it was at the core. And it's just like, it's just so sad to me, you know. So it's just a hot mess, but I noticed it and I'm like, wow, this is just crazy, but it's real. You know, men are out here really jealous and hating on women. But I look at it like this too. If I was a man, I would want somebody who's going for it, you know, because that's going to encourage me, because that's the type of person I need somebody to encourage me. That's going to make me want to go harder. You know, I don't want somebody who's not wanting to do anything and I'm the only one trying to reach. No, I want to come home and we share our day together. You see what I'm saying?
We building.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know, so we can get that beachfront property in France. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Like, come on. Don't you want to?
Yeah, that's true, though. Because I experienced that in my last relationship. It was like every time I was climbing the ladder and he was just like, And I'm like, well, damn, are you not happy for me? I remember his friends being so excited for me and he was just like, oh. I would get a raise, and it was like, oh, now you're making more. Oh, now you think you're better than me because you're making more than me. I'm like, no, it's more for us. It's more money being put in the bank
And
account.
that's what
It's more, it's more for us, not me. But yeah, and I think some men feel like when the woman makes more money or whatever the case may be, it's like now, the disrespect level is higher too. Because some women feel like, now I done seen it. Some women get a little disrespectful. And it's like, listen, so I think that has a lot to do with it too. It's like, oh, you're making more than me. You think you're better than me, But
now, what are your thoughts on gender roles? Just whatever comes to mind. What are your thoughts on them? I'm gonna go with you, Syke.
It's, to me, there's good and bad, and what works for you works for you. There's some aspects that I sit back and I'm like, I appreciate, but then at the same time, going back to what Hassana said earlier, with the little kids when they're playing with the different toys, you need a nice balance of everything, because you need to be able to take out the trash and cook because these are life skills.
Right.
But there are certain things where, like, if I'm looking at, what I would want in a partner or partners, okay, you do start weighing the options, but then it's like, at the end of the day, they're there, but I don't want to be so, like, my whole life is dependent. Like, I can't talk to this person because they don't, like, I don't want to be that out of whack with it personally.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's like I feel the same way. I'm like, for me, if it's a man in the house, it's just certain things that I'm not going to do as a woman. Point blank period. Like, you're going to do something as a man that's manly. So if it's trash, I'm not taking out trash. If it's a man in the house, I'm just not doing it. And just like, it's certain things that I wouldn't want my husband to do as long as I'm in the home. So it's like, if that works for us, then so be it. Different things work for different people. So I think so many people just get so caught up. Like, even when you hear people say, oh, do you feed your children first or do you feed your man first? Well, if I have a husband who is doing what he's supposed to do and he's taking care of home and he's sacrificing for his family, my man is going to eat before my kids eat, because of the fact that he's going out to provide everything for us. So I need for him to be good, and then everybody else is going to follow under that. Some people don't agree with that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But what works for me in my household, that's what works for me in my household.
Right. Right. For me, I'm more of just an equality type person now. I don't believe that, anything outside of procreation. I think that men and women can do just about the same thing. But again, what works for you and your, partners, that works for you all. I remember seeing a story to where this man, he was the stay-at-home dad, while his wife, who just became a lawyer, went out and made the money. And he was praising her like, yo, this is my wife, she's making this money. She's a lawyer. And, a lot of people were shaming him because of that. But I thought the encouragement,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, and you taking care of the kids. Look.
And it makes sense, because that's more money for you all. You see what I'm saying? I even met a girl when I was out.
Husband, shoot, I'll be sitting there.
Right. I met a young lady when I was on a travel assignment who, and we were making some good money. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. We were making some good money out there, and she was like, her husband was like, yeah, if you can keep renewing, like, he was pushing her, like, because this is going to help us get out of our debt, pay bills, do whatever we need to do. You see what I'm saying? But an insecure man would sit there and say, oh, no, you're not going. I don't want you going. But then y'all in the poorhouse, y'all sleeping on the streets, all of that because your ego is so fragile. I just think that is so.
Well, I respect a man that can sit, a man that, and I'm not going to just say sit home, because being a stay-at-home parent is not easy. That is 24 hours of work, like, and with no breaks. You get what I'm saying? So I can respect a man that is strong enough to take on that role.
Yeah. Now, before we open the phone lines, I want to ask this question. Whenever you either when you get in that relationship, or if you're in a relationship now, what do you want your relationship to look like as far as ideal? What would you like for your relationship to look like as far as gender roles, or what works for you? Y'all don't want. Ooh, I'm about to get into this. I'm gonna go ahead and open the door on this one. Okay, y'all go ahead. Well, for me, again, y'all, I love just a supportive man. I love a man who's about equality. You see what I'm saying? I want personally, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a womanly woman when it comes to household. That ain't my thing. I look at it like this. If I'm blessed enough to have money, I'm gonna get a chef to prepare some meals a couple days a week. I ain't got time for that. You see what I'm saying? But I do, want to have some. Okay, this is how I made a schedule of this before too. Okay, I would love for everybody to cook. Let's say if I have a son and a daughter or whatever, I would love for maybe 2 days out the week we can have a chef prepare some meals or whatever, and maybe one day my daughter and I can prepare meals. We can have like a little cook-off challenge, and then maybe my husband and the son can prepare them on another day. Everybody contribute. I don't want it to be seen as this is just a woman's responsibility or a woman's job. And the same thing with laundry, etc. The same way I would want my daughter seeing me do laundry, I would want my son to see me do laundry, because like Syke said, these are life skills. They're not gender roles. And as far as working, I'm going to work. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to sit at home. Now, one thing I would consider, if I have a child, I would like to be as attuned to that child as much as possible, from like maybe 1 to 4, before they start preschool, because I want to help them develop a secure attachment. And I think that's so important. It's so important. So yes. I would definitely consider, switching things up a little bit, just to make sure my child, and sacrificing to make sure my child have a better attachment. I think that's the core of it all. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I would definitely, I wouldn't mind, kind of cutting back hours, or maybe working at home, or whatever the case may be, just to make sure I'm attuned, because I want to be attuned.
Yes.
But yeah, and even when I take maternity leave, I want him to be on paternity leave. I don't want to be I'm not going to be in bed struggling, can't get up and gotta go cook. No, you can be cooking for me. You can be rubbing my big swollen feet, something. I want him to be on paternity leave too, you don't hear about that a lot. It's more of
they offer it now.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'm hearing about it a little more now, but I definitely want that. I want this to be a partnership. Like, I'm not going to be the only one picking up kids and bathing them and cooking. You're going to do some too. It's not just a woman's job, because I know so many people in marriages and they're single mothers.
Will be by themselves.
Single mothers. And I'm like, and they're working too. That's the thing. They're working and doing everything in the household. And that's not cool. That is not cool at all. So, yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's like now, my husband and I talk about it all the time. He's one of those men. He's actually like the man I pray for, because he is like hands-on. He's even before the going live, he called and said, I just wanted to wish you, a lot of love, and I hope everything goes well with y'all. Enjoy the show, great show, and stuff like that. So he's very supportive. He loves to cook. He loves to clean. Yes. He's like, baby, I'll do anything that you don't want to do. So if it's a couple things that I don't like to do that you can handle, can you please take them? Because anything, if you don't want to clean the bathroom, I'll get in there and get on my hands and knees and clean the bathroom. It's stuff like that. So I'm supportive of that. So I really can say that this time around, I was blessed, because it's a shortage out there.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, girl. Yes.
The single streets is sad. Dodge craters, potholes.
And I do not take it for granted at all. Like, we have amazing to marry like your best friend. The conversations are good. The support, the silly times, everything is really amazing.
Yeah, and I agree. I have a friend who was basically with her husband since we were like high school, and she just don't know what's going on out here. She has an older sister who's single, and she was just like, well, I don't see why she's single, or you. Y'all are beautiful women, like y'all are nice women. What's going on? Again, she's not aware, because she's been with the same guy all her life, so she don't know. She never dated, pretty much, so she doesn't know like what It is out in the world nowadays because she never experienced it. But it's not as easy as people think. It's not, and I think a lot of that has to do with y'all. Trauma is my baby. I just think a lot of it has to do with people not addressing their pain, their issues, because trauma does not go away.
No.
It doesn't go away. It's pushed down into ourselves. It alters how we think, how we feel, how we connect with others, how we connect with ourselves. And y'all, it's just not, you can't. It's just not going to go away. You got to deal with it. You can't go to church and pray. It ain't going nowhere. And I think that's why you have so many people, again, in church, etc. And we're repeating cycles over and over, year after year, generation after generation. Nothing's changing because we're not doing the inner work. So a lot of people, I think, especially I know in the Black community, when a lot of people hear about breaking cycles, and a cycle can be, there's different cycles. I get it. But I think so many people equate breaking cycles to coming out of poverty into, money. A lot of time in the Black community, people always think, oh, well, you know what? Everybody's looking to achieve their way out of poverty. And that's the only cycle a lot of people are thinking about that needs to be broken. I mean, yes, that's good. Money is good.
But if your mental is not right, you wouldn't know what to do with your money.
And that's
exactly.
And that's what's happening.
Exactly.
Because people be having money and be effed up in the head and still and end up being broke,
right?
And everything else all over again.
Right. Right. And I think that, a lot of people are using money to soothe the deeper issues.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I know people today that's broke because they keep, every time they get stressed, they go shopping and they're buying stuff to try to feel. You see what I'm saying? So again, we're always trying to escape dealing with our issues. People, we don't like pain. We don't want to deal. I mean, I understand that, the pain of changing is hard, but at the end of the day, again, you're just going to repeat those cycles and nothing's changing. You have to do the inner work. That, to me, when I talk about breaking cycles, that's what I'm talking about, doing the inner work.
And that inner work is bull. It's rough.
You have,
but it's worth it. It's worth, but it's worth it.
Yeah,
because that freedom feels good to be like the change just falling off, and you're able to be who you want to be.
Right. It's so much more than money. Oh my God! Like, I can be like, I'm at the point in my life to where money ain't, I don't care about money. I never cared about money, but I'm gonna be honest, I've always been blessed with being able to have it. I never was broke. I can say that. Now, I'm not gonna say I always had what I wanted, but I was always able to do what I wanted to do. You see what I'm saying? I'm grateful for that. But again, I've always had good money management skills, like ever since a child. I remember selling my pies and my chips to my siblings. Like, I was always a little hustler. You see what I'm saying? So I've always, I've been good with money, and I would save all my money as a child until my mom used to ask for it and never give it back. So anyway, right. I remember my siblings used to be like, you need to spend it. Like, when tax time would come and we used to get our little $20 or, $40 or whatever. And I used to save my money. I was a saver. They used to spend theirs, and their Bone Thugs and Harmony CDs or whatever. I used to save mine and then having to end up giving it back and never got it back. And they was like, you need to spend your money. Stop saving your money and spend it. So anyway, but I just think we have to, get more into just doing the real work. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, well, let me ask, did everybody share their experience?
I think so.
Everybody did? Okay. So right now, you guys, we're going to open the phone lines. If you want to call and share your opinions, your thoughts on anything, go right ahead. Let me go ahead and open that right now so we can be ready and go. Call in if you want to share your thoughts or opinions. Dial 213-87-TABOO, 213-87-TABOO. So we're going to keep the phone lines open for just a few minutes to see if anybody would like to call in. Okay, let's see what kind of comments we have going on. Okay, Love JJ 1814 says, don't let the richest fool you.
For real.
Yeah.
And all the fancy cars.
Yeah.
Even in these relationships, and I'm not trying to hate,
Uh-huh.
because I'm not, okay? I'm really not. But it's like people will post all this stuff on social media, and then in the reality, they living in hell, going through hell. It's just trauma after trauma
Yeah.
pulling up at luggage just all day.
And people are basing your relationships, off of what you post on social media. So
Yes.
if they don't see any pictures of you and your partner, they like, oh, is so and so still together? Like what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know social media solidified my relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm. Yeah, don't let the riches fool you. Yeah, because that's actually what I was going to say too. Is like, as far as the money issue, like I'm at a point to give me a little tiny house, give me a tree house, give me simplicity. I'm good with that. You see what I'm saying? Because I understand what's important in life. For me, I feel like I found that. And it's a blessing. However, if money comes with that, then that's fine too. You see? But yeah.
I know for me, like where I'm at in life right now, I really wish that a group of us can live in the same house, like get a big house and we all live together and just do it like old days where you're just laughing and cooking and waking up to each other and just the memories. I love that. But everybody mental ain't on, where it needs to be. So it's like, no, I'm gonna stay over here by myself.
Yeah. Because I know there were some stories in I don't know where I might have saw this, Facebook, Google, where it was two single mothers that pretty much bought a house together to, go half and half, help support on rent and to help with their children. But they bought a house and they moved in together, and was sharing the load pretty much.
Honestly, I think that's going to be the wave of the future.
Yeah.
As realizing that one, your platonic relationships can be just as important, or should be and can be just as important as your romantic relationship.
Yes.
And the cost of living has made it where you gonna have
yes
with people.
That's true.
You price out. You gotta have a group of folks that's gonna roll with you.
Right.
It's like you got to be a millionaire to stay afloat these days.
I'm telling you.
No, you're absolutely right. Because I remember just the changes of coming from being able to get like public assistance. Like when I was maybe like 19, all the way up until I finished nursing school, like in my early 20s, I was on public housing, food stamps, etc. And once I got off, because I was making too much at that time, it was crazy out here. You know what I mean? It was crazy. So I miss those days. I really do. I really miss those days. But at this point, like I would buy a tiny house if it was legal in a lot of areas. But, they're even putting restrictions on that. But I understand capitalism, they're putting a lot of restrictions on that to where you can't even really live simple.
No.
It really feels like the ones that are out here working, we're getting a shitty end of the stick, and the ones that get to sit home and collect everything is like winning right now. And I'm like, damn, because even I've never been. I was always told I made too much money, and I'm like, where? Please, because what I gross is not what I net.
So will you preach? Right. Okay, because they done took.
I'm like, the more money I make, the more money y'all take. And like, come on now.
Right. And especially for food stamps, I think the food stamp cap for one person is like $900. I'm like, that's like $200. And that's off your gross. Like that's nothing. Like they need food stamps. Even if you make, to me, if you make $2,000 with one person, you need food stamps.
Honey, people be talking like, people be like ashamed about food stamps and stuff. I be like, well, where can I get some from? Because I'm tired of paying $500 when I go to the store. I'm tired of paying $100 for a loaf of bread, eggs, milk, and all. I'm sick of it.
Look, what be cracking me up is when you swear in your head, yeah, it's gonna be about 50. It ain't nothing. You get up there,
and it just keep going and going and going.
And you like, wait, where the meat? Where is the meat?
I'm like, please, I want some assistance over here. And then they be like, oh, you make too much. Well,
listen,
they want you to be broke. You have to be like damn near homeless to get anything.
Yeah.
And then with the whole, even with the home choice voucher or the Section 8, like the rent alone is 3, they want people to make 3 times the rent. So if you're getting a Section 8 or home choice voucher, you aren't going to be able to find a place to stay because a lot of these property management companies and some of these private landlords, they want you to make 3 times the rent. So you're not, and the job sitting up like, well, here goes the same 2002 salary. Like, ain't no, it's just ridiculous. Love JJ's 1814 said, I think the least you have materialistically, the happier you will be.
Yeah.
When you have the right people around you, people who make you full mentally and emotionally. Agreed.
Oh yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Because I swear, I be happy with the little things. Give me love and surround me around people that genuinely love and they love me.
Yes.
It's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah. Well, you guys, it looks like no one desires to share their opinions and thoughts at the moment. Maybe next week, you guys. So let me go ahead and close off the phone lines. Okay, let's see. JJ says, poverty is criminalized. Look at what's happening in New York subways. So someone who wants to live in a tiny house or even a van life. Yeah, I thought about that too. Capitalism wants to crush people simply trying to survive. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People ain't asking to be rich. People just trying to
make it.
Yeah.
I mean, and really, what happened to the middle class? That just bye. Everybody's, like I said, poor, working class, working poor, and then you got the rich chilling, getting tax cuts and socialism.
Yeah.
Because they getting all the benefits up there.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have like entrepreneurship hitting big right now. But a lot of the times I'm like, some people are just really accumulating debt and they don't even realize it.
I just be sitting in the back room, be quiet.
And then it's like, if you speak on it, then you're hating on them because they chose to do something. It's like, no, I'm not hating on you. It's just that everybody is out here like really selling the same product, doing the same thing. Now, granted, you have some people that will be successful. Like they will go far because it is genuine. This is their passion. This is something that they do. But then you have people who are just trying to follow the crowd and don't have an idea of what they're stepping into. And you're investing all this money into being an entrepreneur. And then you're celebrating opening up a business, but then you don't have any clientele. So how do you plan on keeping this business flowing? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just like debt after debt after debt, following the crowd. It's just so much going on here.
You're absolutely right. That passion, the passion has to be behind it. I remember when I did my home care business. Now, let me first say this. The reason I did my home care business because I wanted to start a business that I could eventually step away from and be able to travel, y'all. Travel. I want to travel full time. That's what I want to do. But you need money to travel. You see what I'm saying? Like back in the day, I've had opportunities to like go to South Sudan, volunteer, etc. But you need sponsors to do that because you still need money. You see, so at this point, like I know that I'm meant to be an entrepreneur. I just know that. But it's like with the home care, it was good. I had great, patients, workers, etc. I love being, an entrepreneur. But it was just that wasn't where I needed to be. And I started noticing that I needed a shift. So I, paused for a minute. I didn't want to make a rational decision at the moment for about a year. I just sat on it. And then I felt the shift to go more into mental health. And at the time I was working on my own personal journey and being exposed to all this stuff in my family, all this stuff that was going on in religion. Like I was just like waking up. It's like I had an awakening moment. I'm just like, pipe down for a second, Lord. This is too much. And for real, it's like it was too much at one time, but it's like he was just opening my eyes to all of this stuff. But I felt like it was happening for a reason. The shift was taking place for a reason. And I remember at that time, one of my nephews, this is he's like, I don't know, maybe 2021. But he called me, it was some stuff that was happening at that moment. And he asked, could he stay with me? And I remember at that time asking him, and it was another one of my nephews over there. And I said, you know what? Because I was going through that moment of trying to figure out, okay, this isn't, the home care isn't it. I feel like I need something else. And I said, I just want to know, because sometimes you have to ask other people things, because I think a lot of things we're called to do is stuff that comes natural for us that you don't even really realize it. So I say, why do y'all always call me? Like, why? And then the things that they shared with me helped me to find, you know, my passion for like mental, emotional health, along with where I was being shifted, you know. And I was like, this is real. I felt like my whole life I was like a therapist, a counselor. Like it came so natural for me that I didn't realize I was doing it. You see what I'm saying? So you might as well get paid for something that you're good at. So just going forward, once I graduate, I want to specialize child and adolescents. That's my baby. So that's what I'm looking at right now, because it just seems like I'm everybody's mama. So I might as well just go forward with it.
But it's like before you can become and walk in your assignment, you have to do the inner work. And a lot of people, it's nothing wrong. Like I take my hat off to anybody that's out here getting it, going for their dream. But it's like it really has to be your dream and passion, because there's some days where you're not going, like when it's some days where the numbers are not going to be up. But when it's your baby, you're going to find different routes to make it do what it needs to do. So it's like, you know, first, before you can soar in that, you have to do that work on yourself so that you can prosper in what your assignment is.
Yeah. So I'm excited about like the next chapter. Like I really am, because I think this degree is going to open up some doors. I think it really is going to open up some doors. So, you know, we'll definitely see what happens. But, you know, let's see, it's 8:14. Oh, we got done early today.
We did.
So I thank you all as always for, you know, being here and just having great conversation. Now, next week, you guys, we're going to be talking about colorism. We're going to focus on colorism for next week. So thank you all for watching and always supporting and tuning in with us every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure that you go back and watch any replays that you've missed. You can watch those on our Facebook channel and our YouTube channel. Just make sure you search Chainbreakers Talk Show and they should come right up. And make sure that you share and like our video and subscribe and follow our pages as well, so that you are able to get notifications as to when we go live. Okay. Now I want to leave you with a little something before we go. Always remember that activity follows identity. It's time that you stop playing the script that you have been given and start becoming the author of your own life. Only you have the power to change your narrative. It's time to rewrite your story. Until next time.